he's going to find himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So you're off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races. Only
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
But I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately, isn't it? What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Oh, Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. Definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, and it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is enjoying himself watching. And Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good evening and welcome to the Blue Flags Matters 129, powered by JP Broadcasting, sponsored by the Killer Brownie Company. We are here at Road America, track length 6.41 kilometers here this evening, and with 14 turns, and it's the first road circuit of the season. Well, what more can we ask for? We all know how I feel about NASCARs on road circuits, but we have to put them in, and we did put them in here as well. And we're going to start off with Road America, the track that was voted the best NASCAR track in America in 2021. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Kenton Sportak this evening, and well, it's going to be absolutely incredible. Don't forget, tonight is sponsored by the Killer Brownie Company. Links down in the description below. Please go and check them out as well and see if you've got Killer Brownies near where you are. So, Kenton, Road America. Well, we know how we feel about NASCARs on a road track. Not one that I personally enjoy, but you're quite hyped up for this one.
Yeah, Road America is a lot of fun. It is a little harsher, obviously, than oval racing. There's a lot more direct 90-degree turns, and then that weird thing that most NASCARs don't like doing, which is turning right. So we get to do both today, and thankfully with this track, it's very similar in a lot of ways to how Watkins Glen is, in that the exits for a lot of these corners are a lot wider than you'd expect seeing a road race. Like if you're used to watching Formula One or even GT cars, things like that. There's typically, you kind of have your curb and then nothing afterwards other than grass and rocks. At least here, as you can see on that corner there, and then just coming off the exit here, it's a lot longer. They're a little wider. There's a little extra space just to make those corners in cars that are typically not well known for their cornering ability, like a NASCAR. So with these guys, it should make it at least a little bit more tolerable and hopefully more bearable for yourself, at least. I know your love of road races on NASCAR.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where you got that from. But welcome in to Seth Pegg, and of course our very own Armand Brusso once more as well. Thank you so much for being in YouTube chat. Yeah, we know how I feel about it all, but let's look at the schedule. As you can see, we're at Road America, and then next week we are back to where NASCARs should be, at Ovals with Charlotte. Then we go on to Bristol, and then we go to Pocono, of all places, here as well. North Wilkesboro, Darlington, and then the second road circuit of the season, and the only one here as well where we've got two, and it is Watkins Glen and this one, and that is it. Then we go Chicago, Kansas, Talladega, Las Vegas, Dover, Auto Club, and then Homestead, Miami. So that is the calendar for this season, and it will run until October 17th. So we've got a long way to go yet here as well, and one that I think this is going to be an interesting one. I as I say, you know how I feel, right? I don't love NASCARs on a road circuit by any shape or form. It's not something that I enjoy doing. But what we will do really quickly as well before we get going into qualifying, which has had a change as well. It's 10 minutes of qualifying. This is the current championship point standing. No, it is not. Why has it not done that properly? Give me 2 seconds here. Let's see if we can get the right one. There we go. And Dan Michael, I believe, is top of the standings, not David Nail. Davey is probably going to get a shock of his life when he reads that and realises that he's not actually top of the standings currently at the moment as well. But it is Dan Michael being the top driver in the standings at the moment here as well. I'm just going to correct that. Clearly, my fat fingers have got in the way here doing this. And unfortunately, I've given Davey Nail more points than he actually needs. So there we go. Let's get it right this time, as he is not in the championship lead currently at the moment here as well. And it is Dan Michael is sitting on top here as well. There we go. Come on. What is going on? Bear with me 2 seconds why the championship standings are doing weird and wonderful things here. We're not up for the greatest start in the world. Come on, you can do this. It is Dan Michael anyway at the top of the standings here this evening as well. Noel Jackowitz is in second with Rodney Roberts, Andrew Jamalin, Cody Kern, Christian Strada, and then we've got Derek Runge, Nick Vasquez, Devon Collicott, Terry Spainhour being down there as well. Anthony Radel, Xander Short, Brandon McLaughlin, Dominic Bettini, Hunter Carlson, Alex Witt, and Rob Sizemore. Then we go on below that. We've got Joshua Kuhn, Blake Lewis, Andrew Almquist, Ryan McLennan, Gregory Sherman, Seth Pegg, Daniel Jones, Yogi Shishela, Zachary Lewis, Keenan Kimber. And then on from Keenan Kimber, we've got Chi Kuba, Cody Sharp, Calvin Ross, Sawyer Gara, Jordan Malcolm, Thomas Kuhn, Joshua Keefe, Tony Hedge. Davey Now is in there in 37th place with Keith Fallon and Armand Brusso at the bottom, who hasn't got any points, partly due to the fact that he's not actually done any racing. So here we go. We have got 10 minutes of open qualifying, a change, obviously, longer circuit here. Kenton, and one that I think we can look out for here as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's about a 2:10 on the faster end of things. I believe the last time a NASCAR drove here was 2022. I don't think they're going here this year. I believe not. But they've been pretty quick laps. I mean, for the most part, it's obviously NASCAR is usually the slowest, strictly because of the style of car, but about a 2:14 was made. 2:14.089 in 2021 was the fastest Cup car that's been here, and that would have been the next gen ones as well there. So they can get some pretty good times, but it will still be in that 2:14 to 2:16, I'd say, would be kind of a good time. After that, you're getting a little slower, but things like that do happen. So we'll see how these guys end up going, because I know some other ones like LMP2s, you're rocking about a 1:49, so a little faster. So this will be a little more fun to watch. You get to watch them go around the track a little longer.
Yeah, apparently they replaced Road America with Chicago Street Circuit.
That's right. I thought I couldn't remember which track they had gone to, and I didn't want to say it. Be wrong, but yes, that's right. Chicago was this year, I believe. It was, this year.
The July
NASCARs.
Yeah, it was the July weekend, wasn't it? At the beginning of the month that they went to as well. I didn't actually watch the race. I didn't actually watch the highlights. I was going to just to see how they actually got on and whether or not it was kind of a Monaco-esque procession of cars just driving around quite happily. So if anybody does know how it turned out, then please let me know. So, it would be interesting to know how it did go, or I might just watch the highlights back, to be honest, to see how they all got on here, as well as we have got drivers out on their out laps. Alex Witt is also another one out on track currently at the moment. He's just gone down the kink and running down into Canada Corner, that turn 12, that right-hander, where it's going to be heavy braking, I feel, as well. 2 sets of tyres, 50% fuel, stage brake at 15 laps. We are running 32 laps here currently as well. We were discussing in the green room before we went live about yellow flags at a road circuit. How does that generally work for people?
It's a lot different than what we're going to be used to seeing oval racing. Obviously, if you get a yellow flag, it's a caution, it's full course, everybody slows down, doesn't matter where you were. With this, it's going to be, I believe, local yellow flags. So if there's an incident happening in, say, turn 1, you're going to have yellow flags just to let drivers know, hey, there's someone off track here. But other than that, you're going to still have everyone else going around like they normally would without really any shock of it having to stop everybody. So it'll be a little different. It might take a little adjusting, but the nice thing is we're not going to have 12 cautions slowing up our race today.
Yeah, we should have as well. With a 2-minute 10 lap there from Jordan Malcolm with Alex Witt behind him as well. I'm not surprised Jordan Malcolm, being a road car runner, is basically topping the qualifying sheets, to be honest, because let's face it, he does drive road cars as well. So I'm not surprised that we are where we are currently at the moment with him. But I think where are the danger points? Turn 5 is generally a big one for people coming down that marine sweep. We've seen people go off in practice there as well, but we've seen people go off at turn 3 or turn 1. They've kind of been off all round the track. But in a racing scenario, Kenton, where would we expect the cars to be off track, should we say?
The big ones are going to be, I'd say turn 1's a pretty big one. It's about a 1.2K drive from turn 14 to turn 1. It's a really long straightaway. It is a big uphill to start, but you will get up to speed very quickly. And if you don't get on the brakes at the right time, things like that, it can get kind of dicey making that first right-hand turn. Turn 3 is a little more sweeping. It's not quite as bad, and you don't have as much speed, even though it is a little bit can be a little tricky if you get on the throttle a little quick, but I'd say turn 1 would be the more important one to nail. Turn 5 is a big one because it's kind of an odd. You're braking in a straight line, but you're also having to sort of start to drift left to make it after going basically right the whole way. So it's kind of an interesting sort of turn coming out of turn 5. That's a pretty sketchy one. And then turn 6 as well, strictly because it's going straight uphill. You get the gravity assist for braking, but it's kind of a blind corner strictly because you are going uphill. So you can't really see the apex right away. And you kind of have to judge where you are on the track as to where you're turning in, opposed to actually reading the apex. And then coming out of the hurry downs in turn 8 can get a little spicy as it is a hard left. And then the one that I think a lot of people are going to get caught out by, the kink. I think the kink could cause a few problems because it looks like you should be able to do it flat out, but even in some of the high downforce cars, it's a little tricky. So with these kind of cars not having that high downforce, I think it'll get even more interesting for some of the drivers out today.
Yeah, definitely will be there as well. Good evening, Billy Cooper. Hey, let's get it, TJ. And then Lydia Spainhour. Go, TJ. Armand said it was wet and a non-NASCAR driver won. And then Braden says the non-NASCAR racer was the best driver on the course that day. Well, who was the non-NASCAR? You might as well tell me now, to be honest. Who was the non-NASCAR driver that took Chicago by storm and won there as well? But Hunter Carlson, I do love Hunter Carlson's paint scheme currently for this one as well. It looks rather beautiful, I'm not going to lie. So there we go. Who was the non-NASCAR driver who took the victory? Do you know?
I'm looking at it, trying to track it down right now here.
Shane Van Gisbergen.
Shane Van Gisbergen. There's a name for you.
Have you ever heard of him?
I haven't. I'm actually trying to figure out where he came from.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or who he is there. That's, Shane Van Gisbergen.
What does he normally drive? A New Zealand man, SVG, the GOAT of all motorsports, says Seth Pegg. So there we go.
He is a Kiwi.
He is a Kiwi. Clearly, Seth likes him. So that's all that matters. You know what I mean? Yeah,
he's a supercar driver. So he drives supercars. It looks like for 888 Race Engineering.
Oh, very nice.
And he's ran one NASCAR Cup Series and won it. It's a pretty good career in NASCAR. He's 1 for 1 in NASCAR. He's got 80 wins in supercars. So, yeah, interesting.
Well, there you go. Well, there we go. Clearly, Shane Van Gisbergen, whoever he may be, is the GOAT. And is 1 for 1 in NASCAR. So there we go.
Yeah.
Happy days. Good job from him there as well. So a stellar one from him. As I say, never heard of him. Driver out of New Zealand. Thank you, Braden. Here as well, as we're coming to the end of qualifying. Well, there we go. We are all finished. So we can bring you up the grid for this race here. Give it 2 seconds as the cars are gridding. We've got Jordan Malcolm on pole, Noel Jakowitz in second, Alex Witt third, Derek Runge fourth, Devon Collicott fifth, Christian Schrader sixth, Hunter Carson seventh, Rodney Roberts eighth, Cody Kern ninth, Andrew Almquist in 10th, Seth Pegg 11th, and Brandon McLaughlin down in 12th place. Then we've got Cody Sharp, Anthony Radel, TJ Spainhour, Dominic Bettini, Calvin Ross, Chi Kuba, Matthew Nordberg, and Sawyer Gara rounds out your top 20. So let's get ready for this and see how this one pans out here. They are just starting on the short corner there between 12, well, it's 13A and 14 to be honest. But let's see how this one pans out. What do you think, Kenton? Is it going to be good or not?
I think it's going to be a great race. We got lots of guys that can drive pretty solidly coming through the roads, even though I know a lot of them don't love it. I think the big misser on this one, and mainly because he did really well with, I believe it was Road America last year was his big race in Dan Michael. So that would have added a little bit, but I think Jordan Malcolm, I mean, he's fantastic road racer. But we also do have quite a good chunk of people who are an A license in road racing, and a fairly high one. So I think it'll be a better race than we anticipate. It's a pretty fast track. It's regarded as one of the fastest road tracks or permanent road tracks. Not even just in North America, just overall one of the fastest ones, which is really cool. So hopefully we get to see a lot of speed today.
Well, hopefully it will be a good one, as we're joined by Terry Spainhour Senior out there as well. Let's go, TJ. And Spitz, let's get it, Chi. You got this. Chi Cuba down in 18th place currently at the moment here as well. So, well, get ready for this one, guys. It's going to be a good one, I'm sure. Matthew Nordberg and Sawyer Gara did not make the start there. So I'm not too sure what's happened to them, but if they are going to start from the pits, we will be down to 18 if they don't start at all here. Pace car is going to be in. Jordan Malcolm will be your lead car as of now, with Noel Jakowitz and Alex Witt beside him. He's backing him up. He's backing him up here. This could be chaos down into turn one. Let's see.
Ooh,
Yeah, we are. Oh! Ooh. What has gone on here?
Yeah, that is not how you're supposed to start that.
No. No, Jakowitz is off as well. Alex Witt. Derek Runge is now in second place with Christian Strada. There won't be a full course yellow, guys, because at the end of the day, it is a road circuit. It doesn't exist unless Armand Brousseau is going to throw one here because of the chaos that's just commenced behind him. And I believe there's probably going to be a few people that can actually do with this in a weird way. Let's have a look. I just want to see here as well. Jordan Malcolm, unfortunately, looked like he had a moment, didn't it? It looked like he had a disconnect of some sort there as well.
I think what happened was he went to accelerate once he hit the top of the hill, and his car just kicked. Like his back end just went out on him. From what I could see in kind of our stream there, it looked like he went to floor it. And then his back end just kicked out, and he went straight into that wall, and that just caused utter chaos.
Chaos. Absolute chaos there off the start for Jordan Malcolm.
A weird feeling thinking that that's not how he was hoping that one was going to go.
No, I got a funny feeling he wasn't either here. And once more, Alex Witt comes round, and it's going to be down into Canada corner, turn 12. The right-hander, of course, here. He is out in front with Derek Runge there as well. But we've got Devon Collicott in the pits, Brandon McLaughlin there as well. Jordan Malcolm is still running, but all the way down in 16th place currently. That incident involves Seth Pegg, Cody Kern, Cody Sharp, Anthony Radel, TJ, Jordan, Dominic Bettini. Noel Jackowitz also went off track as well. Yeah. Not an ideal start. I gotta be honest.
Not if you're trying to win this, no. If your idea start is just pure chaos, that was perfect. But yeah, if you hope, and there goes Runge. Looks like he made a little bit of a late move or late to break and caught right into the back of Alex Witt there. That's going to send him around and Alex Witt out. And yeah, it looks like Runge just didn't break soon enough, made contact with Witt, and that's going to send them around as well. And Strotter's now got himself a little bit of a lead. Oh yeah, he got a little squirrely. Looks like he hit a little bit of grass. And
yep, Runge.
NASCAR on road. If you want chaos, this is where you come.
This is just unbelievable. Christian Strada running around turn 5 at the moment. Whoever is in 16th place is trying to get their car back to the pits. That's Jordan Malcolm. Look at the state of that. Where is his steering pointing? Well, his steering ain't pointing in where it should be. Let's just put it that way, because he is running rather horribly there as well. Hunter Carlson batting it out with Roberts. They're on their way up down into turn 8 currently at the moment here. With that's an interesting one. Might have been a problem with the wheel that doesn't just happen. Yeah, I know, it was a little bit strange, but Hunter Carlson also goes up and loses 2 places to Noel Jackowitz and Alex Witt coming back through here at the same time. So Anthony Radel has also had a moment as well. Radel did not do well in practice here, Kenton, either, to be honest. So I'm not surprised that he's been off track at the same time. Lap 2, birdie to go. And, well, we've seen chaos. Literal chaos.
Yeah, not your most ideal start. And I mean, at our stage break, it might be interesting to bring in Jordan Malcolm and see what he can actually shed light on as to what happened there, because that was a very interesting thing to do. It looked like I said, it looked like he just accelerated too fast and it sent the car around. Which, I mean, in these cars, they don't have a lot of downforce, so if you accelerate a little quick, it throws a lot of that weight back. And I think just because it was sort of coming off the uphill, it might have just upset the weight balance of the car and send it around, but who knows? Oh, that little lock up there is... Yeah, things are getting close up front there. It looks like Roberts had himself a little bit as Witt cuts up on the inside. Bold move to do. It's a little sketchy going through turn 1 on the inside of another car here, but he made it stick and no incidents there, so that's always good.
Yeah, Witt did just past Noel Jackowitz. He is trying to come back, of course, after him and Derek Runge made contact there. We've had pit stops from Jordan Malcolm, Devon Collicott and Brandon McLaughlin. Currently, Norberg and Gara are out. There's a runner there on the side. That's Andrew Onquist, gone in too hot into turn 5. And unfortunately, there has struggled. There is Brandon McLaughlin in the top here on that run down into turn 8. Currently sitting on the side of the circuit. Not an ideal scenario, but Rodney Roberts now with Witt right behind him and Jackowitz. And then Runge trying to catch back up as well. Armin Brousseau, well, that's one way to start the race. Yeah, it definitely is, as Jackowitz is looking to clear Roberts on the outside now, running around the carousel. Roberts holding that inside line. He's going to force Jackowitz to go wide. Is he going to try this cutback on this run past the kink here, Kenton? It's looking like Rodney Roberts, a bit of a cork in the bottle for Noel Jackowitz at the moment.
A little bit, and I gotta say, Witt's making some moves that are kind of questionable. That's two, I don't really want to call them dive bombs, but dive bombs that I've seen had him pull off there, and he's gotten away with both so far, but it's a little dicey to be trying to make those moves lap 3. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, because he is, I'm assuming, frustrated at how that went, because he was in the lead and kind of battling with Runge there, and then got forced out of the lead by no fault of his own, but he twice almost caused a little interesting moment had the car not let him go on the inside there.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, that's kind of the state of road racing. You've got to send it up the inside, otherwise you're never going to get the pass done. You know, from his point of view, I can see why. Don't get me wrong, he wants to get on now. He was at the front of the grid. He does, you know, Runge again. Runge is not having a good time behind cars at the moment.
No, he is definitely not, and yeah, and like you said, yeah, I mean, you have to take the opportunities when they're there. If you're Alex Witt and stuff like that, for sure. It's just that one kind of, if Roberts had decided to even stay on the inside lane, which was his, he didn't have to give him space. I think he wasn't alongside him at any point during it. That would have ended with some damage. So it's just a little bit of a like, I get you want to make moves, but you could also come off a corner and get him on the exit since you had a faster setup for this race. But things happen. He made it clean, so for now at least it seems to be working out.
Calvin Ross goes in a little bit too deep into turn 5 there as well, and he is battling away with G Kuba currently. Kuba down, well, she's up 9 and in 9th place, so a stellar run from G Kuba at this moment in time here as well. And I think that's going to be an interesting one. I think Calvin Ross has got the pace, but he's got to make it through cleanly. Seth Pegg has just passed TJ. Seth there, going up into turn 6, the left-hander. Keep it on. TJ's going to get back through as well, as Seth runs wide in turn 6 and goes through. Biggest losers so far, Jordan Malcolm, Devon Collicott have lost 27 places between them. Jordan with the 15, Devon with 12. So no Jackowitz running side by side with Roberts currently at the moment. Round into turn 13. Through 13A they go, is they're running on to 14 as well. Jackowitz just can't get past at the moment, Kenton. He's trying literally everything at him at the moment.
Yeah, it's not a super wide track, so you kind of have to pick your moments for sure. And if Noah wants to sort of he wants to make that move, it's going to take a little bit of effort, and you kind of have to be in the right spot at the right time, and you hope that he can kind of slide on through without causing too many issues.
Yeah, that's not always a thing on a road circuit, unfortunately, as we saw right at the beginning there. So he's going to have to try and get him on this run down in through Moraine Sweep here as well. Dominic Bettini's been off circuit, so is TJ, so is Seth Pegg. What has gone on here? Dominic Bettini coming out of Canada corner. How do you do this? Because he's coming through turn... And how did TJ get himself involved in that one then? Oh, he was pushed round by Seth Pegg. Seth off the circuit there, and a number 15 also off. That's Cody Sharp. So Pegg and TJ coming together and then affecting Cody Sharp's race here as well. Jackowitz did manage to stay in front of Roberts, which is an ideal scenario from him. And TJ has now got this man, Cody Sharp, right behind him currently at the moment here as well. And that was coming out of turn 13 there for them guys. Okay, are we seeing what we're seeing due to the fact that obviously we generally just go left? Are we seeing that currently at the moment because of that scenario? Kenton? Oh.
There we go. My mic was being all weird there. I wouldn't say necessarily because it's... Cody Sharp almost makes a little bit of an incident there, but is able to get himself through. Does lose a space to Seth Pegg there, unfortunately. But it's not necessarily because we are used to them only turning left. I think the big issue is these cars they don't slow down, they don't brake nearly the same as most other cars will that are typically known for their road races. You have to brake them very early. The brake balance has to be done in a way that allows the car to stay very stable under braking, because otherwise it's a guessing game, right? It makes it very kind of whippy if you start trying to brake without having the brake balance far enough forward. Usually you can get away with it a little more evenly in most high downforce cars or most road cars, but because these ones are not typically set up for that, even though they are a road-ish version, they're still not made to be doing, you know, Road America and things like that 100%. So it's kind of an adapted road car, and they don't have quite that downforce that's getting kind of created by everything else. So it does make the cars loose. And you have to really be able to control it, and you have to brake in a straight line. And if you start turning too early while trying to brake without trail braking and kind of lifting, you're going to send your car around very, very easily. Or if you try and brake and clip grass, you're going to send your car around very easily.
Yeah, no, I get that one. As Mr. Spainhour Senior says, these cars are just so loose. It's like driving on ice. I do fully understand that as well, and this is why, obviously, you know, I've got my little pet hate at the best of times regarding NASCARs on road circuits, Armand, as well. So, you know, I do have my own little opinions. Love you, really did, here as well. But I don't know. I just think, I don't know. Do you think, though, that the drivers can do anything about this? Can they go out and practice more? Can they think about where they're going to put the car? Can they do a lot more with the car than some probably have done? Like, have some just used this practice beforehand and decided, right, I'm ready for the race, when clearly they're not? You know what I mean? Or have they gone out and put 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 laps in like some people might do and think, actually, do you know what, I am ready here? Because obviously they've got to spot their braking points, right? They've got to be able to do that. And at the end of the day, you can't do that without practice, can you?
No, and yeah, it does make it a lot harder, but it's all going to be just getting reps in and laps in as much as you can. Seat time is going to be the biggest thing to help. Obviously, getting it set up the way you need it to be set up is going to be the biggest thing, and making sure that the balance stays properly. And with these cars, compared to a lot of like road cars and stuff like that, you almost want to not necessarily lift too much, but you want to let off the gas a little bit before you start your braking, because it'll kind of allows the weight to kind of get more centered. So once you start braking, it's not a huge lurch from rear to front super fast. And that in itself can unsettle your car. So if you kind of let off, it sort of allows it to balance itself again before you start braking, which is why you see a lot of the brake points for these cars is very early compared to if you're driving even a GT3 car, which, yes, they're built very differently, but compared to like an LMP2, they're, at least a GT3 car is very close-ish in design. It's not made, you know, massively with downforce and things like that. So if you're running in one of those, like going into turn one, I think it's about the three pylon section is where you're starting your braking point. With these guys, you'd be starting it almost at the first braking point, the first kind of. He made it through.
He did, but it was a bit dodgy. I'm not gonna lie.
Got a little, got a little questionable for a second there. But yeah, you get at that point where if you have to brake a little early, you have to let off the gas a little early to allow that, or off the throttle a little early, just to allow the car to kind of balance itself out before you hit onto the brakes. And you have to heavy brake, but you really have to be careful with these, because if you are braking while turning, they just lose grip so fast because they don't have the same sort of ground effect and downforce that most other cars meant to run road races will have.
Now we are looking at Alex Witt, closing in on Christian Strada. I want to pick up on his Cody Kern, Derek Runge battle as these guys are going around turn 14 here. We've got 25 laps to go, but at 2 minutes a lap, it's going to be at least another 50 minutes here with the stage break as well. Let's see if Runge now can get the car stopped this time behind another car. Obviously, it's draft assisted. There's not a massive draft, don't get me wrong. He does get it to stop going down into turn one here as well. Seth Pegg and Dominic Bettini are fighting it out as they're coming round the top part of the circuit. Round the kink they go. And Seth is going to look like almost try and get that cutback once more here as he's going down on that run into Canada corner. Pegg behind Dominic Bettini. Keeping an eye on the timers on the top left-hand corner as well. Witt is closing in now on Strada. Kern is being closed in on by Runge. Dominic Bettini has been off track once more. and is not loving this circuit either. Cody Sharp has jumped into the pits, then Calvin Ross also had a moment as well, but Christian Strada has been caught by Alex Witt, and that was 4 seconds he pulled in here over Christian Strada, and now Witt is tucked up right behind Christian Strada at the moment.
Yeah, and it's one of those tracks where if you can hit those corners well, you're going to be very fast. Like we had mentioned, it is a very fast track. It does require a lot of heavy braking, but it's also a lot of heavy acceleration. So while you do have these corners, you know, like we're seeing here as they head to Canada Corner here, it is a heavy braking spot. It is a very interesting and tricky corner, but as soon as you are on your way out of that corner, it's basically flat out. There's a little bit of a lift as you make your way through this little section here before turn 14, where it's another heavy braking, but now it's just throttle down. As soon as you get to this exit, you're immediately everything you have. So if you're able to kind of keep that car pointed straight and keep everything moving without any, you know, sliding around, too much oversteer or understeer, you're going to be very fast here. So I mean, Witt is not one we've ever questioned on his speed. He is a very fast driver, especially on ovals, but even here in road courses, he still has driven very well. I think he lost one of the oval or one of the road races last year strictly because I think he got had an incident in like the last couple laps, and it kind of sent everything around and gave him a rough finish to that. But outside of that, like, he was always in the top 2 or 3 for most of those road tracks, so he is very good at this as well.
Yeah, he definitely is, and I think he is definitely showing that by taking the lead, and Christian Strada is now in 2nd place here. Can Strada stay with that Bojangles Ford? Well, we're going to find out, but if he keeps pulling out or losing the time, by a second a lap here, it's not going to be long before Alex Witt just absolutely dominates this race and goes off and literally opens up a massive gap. Andrew Almquist is another man that's been off track. That's round at Canada Corner, and unfortunately for him, he did exactly the same thing in practice. Exactly the same corner, exactly the same point.
Yeah, and that Canada Corner is pretty tricky because it's deceiving how much speed you really have coming in and how tight that corner really is. I know even, you know, when I was driving it myself in these cars, but also in any other car, you have to brake a lot earlier than you'd expect coming into it, just because it is such a hard corner, and you have so much speed coming off, coming out of the turn, or coming off the straightaway right beforehand, and it just makes it really hard. And it's sort of a blind corner because you don't really see much, and then it's straight kind of into an uphill. So it's a very interesting, very tricky sort of corner, but it takes a lot of practice to get it right. But if you are able to get it right, it's both, it looks like Witt and Stroud are both heading into the pits right away here. At the same time, that got a little close together, a little snuggling going in there.
Do you reckon that's fuel related?
Most likely, yeah. Tires aren't going to be a huge issue here. This track is it is very forgiving for tires. I don't think you're going to be sitting there like, oh, I need to take a full 4 every pit stop. If anything, you're going to take one at the stage break, and probably that would be about it. You're not going to need a whole lot when it comes to tire changing here.
So if we're looking at they've done 9 laps or 8 laps and then gone into the pits, right? They're going to have to make quite a few fuel stops currently at the moment. Runge has gone out in front here as well, but they're going to have to make 3 fuel stops at least. Okay, if my 8, 16, 24 on a 32 lap race, you know, quick maths, not bad considering I'm old and it's 1:34 in the morning. But at the end of the day, they've got to be able to get these right also, because obviously you're going to want to time your fuel stop around when the next stage break's going to be, isn't it? Because if you go in at, say, 9 that they have done, or 8 really, because they've not completed 9, and then they're going to go add another 9, that's going to take them to 17, where the stage break is going to be at 15. So 15 add 8 will take them, just get them to the end of the 23, won't it? Or are we looking at the stage break is also going to compensate for them because they're not running around at full speed?
I mean, yeah, the stage break is going to compensate a little bit. I think it's going to be pretty important to take a last sort of fuel stint. The main thing I could see them doing now, so I mean, we are going into our ninth full lap, or finishing up our ninth laps, going into 10th laps now. You're going to be definitely looking to push to the stage brake, fuel up at the stage brake, and then it might be kind of a splash and dash more so than anything. You're going to go in, you're going to take a couple liters just to get you to the end. Obviously, we're not going to have to deal with any green, white, checkered. When you finish, you finish. There's no chance of it having to go, another couple laps and then go. But that'll be sort of the thing I can see them doing, unless someone decides to really conserve. But it's hard to conserve as much as on a road course as it is on an oval. So it's going to be, I think, kind of, okay, how full fuel, get as far as you can until you're like, okay, well, I need this much gas or this much fuel, hop in real quick, go straight to it, don't even touch tires, throw in a couple liters, and then head right back out, kind of thing. So
yeah, Runge is in the pits as well now, but that was expected. He did go a lap longer than these guys. You'll see him on the top left of your screen. There he is there, top right, sorry, as he's still not got actually into where he needs to go. It's a long pit lane here as well. This high street is this start-finish straight is longer than my high street, I'm not going to lie. As well, as we can see, somebody just gone completely off into the background. Radel is not loving this track. Like, literally, if I've spoken to him, he will turn around and say to me, James, I hate this circuit, because he has been off at every part of the track here. He did the same in practice as well. At least he's getting his $14 worth, at the end of the day. He's seeing all the sights of Road America, but poor Anthony Radel not having a good one. Dominic Bettini and TJ, just as TJ locked up there as well. And unfortunately, TJ's going to lose a place to Andrew Almquist. He locked up, he hit the grass, and unfortunately for TJ, he is all the way down in 14th. Witt and Strada still battling out. The interesting thing is, why couldn't Strada show this sort of pace when he was out in front? He got pulled in by 4 seconds a lap here, and he's managing to stay within 7/10 of Christian Strada at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's utilizing as much of the slipstream as he can. That's a huge thing. Obviously, these cars don't exactly have the greatest aerodynamics, so if you're out in front, it does make it a little tougher. But it also could be he was trying to preserve his fuel a little bit and trying to save tires a little bit. And to be honest, if you're going to sit behind anybody, sitting behind Witt, getting his line and being able to kind of figure out how he hits some of these corners, why not?
Yeah.
You have an automatic caution that'll happen no matter what, and tighten it up so you can put a little bit of fuel or put a little more push into it and kind of fight your way through and hope it goes well, and then kind of see where it goes from there.
Yeah, no, I fully understand that as well. I would probably look at doing the same thing. We've got TJ and Devon Collicott now. Collicott coming onto the back of TJ's car. I agree with you, Mr. Spainhour Senior, as well. That car would look awesome with yellow wheels, I'm not going to lie. So I don't know if anybody can do that, or if it is possible to change the colour of the wheels on NASCARs, but if you can, go for it, because it will look sexy. But Collicott is going to have a run at Spainhour now down the Moraine Sweep. Spainhour is on the grass once more. Collicott's going to make the most of it. They're going to drop over the hill. They are going to look at starting to brake and getting that car stopped as them brakes. They're shining up bright orange in that car at that moment as well. It looks like Dominic Bettini's also been off track. Collicott's going to capitalise and get a run on the inside of 6. He's made it through. What about Spainhour? Is he going to make it through as well here on that run through turn 7 and then down a slight little incline into turn 8 here? They've got to be aggressive. I think that's the thing here. With, obviously, ovals, you're just round and you're looking at spaces and you're trying to edge around, and Bettini went in hot there, and Spainhour did make it through. Almquist went off track as well, and that was Andrew Almquist sitting on the side of the circuit. But they've got to make them road moves, haven't they? They've got to be diving people. They've got to stick their nose up the inside, because otherwise, what's the point of racing?
Yeah, what's if I don't take the gap, you're no longer a race car driver. So it's definitely important for them to make opportunities, or at least take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves. If someone goes a little deep, cut up on the inside. If someone breaks a little later than they should, or tries to keep the inside lane and doesn't get a great exit, but you're able to go on the outside and get a really good exit, force yourself around the outside if you have to. But it is very different passing compared to if you're trying to drive ovals, because obviously ovals, it's everybody's turning the same way, everybody's doing the same sort of thing, and you kind of have to just wrap around them and hope that works. But in road racing, it's very different even with the NASCARs, though the NASCARs do make it a lot trickier. They don't make it nearly as easy as some of the other cars can be for passing on certain long straights or corners and things like that, just because of how big they are as a whole. Simon Pegg.
Seth Pegg.
Looks like, or Seth Pegg, sorry, Simon Pegg. Seth Pegg. Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg.
Apparently I've got Mission Impossible on the brain, apparently. He goes a little deep, locks up, unfortunately. But you can see, Witt just not having any issues outside of the little bump that he had with Runge earlier. But himself and Strada have very clearly set the pace on this race today.
Yeah, they definitely have been on track and practiced at some point and got their braking points and done fuel stops and all of this sort of stuff, because these two together are absolutely dominating this race. They've got 7 seconds to Noel Jakowitz as Andrew Almquist is off the side of the circuit once more.
And then the other side.
And then the other side as well for Andrew Almquist. So he's another man who's seeing all parts of the circuit here at Road America. I bet he sat in that car thinking, I hope James hasn't seen that. Well, we just did. So poor Almquist. Pegg's gone off again. Another man that's not loving Road America. I bet he sat in a car screaming about now, and I can imagine all the Australian words coming out of his mouth there as well, Seth Pegg. But it does look like Alex Witt, Christian Strada got this track locked down. They've got their braking points nailed. They're doing everything they need to do here as well, as they're just coming up to lap Spainhour in 12th place already with 20 laps to go. That's incredible.
Yeah, they're having a fantastic run, these two. And I mean, Strada, the fact that he was caught so easily by Witt, but the fact that they're just not, he hasn't let him get by at all. And a little wiggly tail at the end there, but they're cruising, and they almost seem like they're out for a nice, easy Sunday drive, if you will. But obviously at a little bit faster speeds than we would be.
No.
Just a bit.
Just a bit. My little Vauxhall Insignia can go faster than that. It'll be all right. I don't know what it can do, to be honest. I haven't driven it and trying to test how fast it can go. Not that I condone speeding, by the way. I'm just saying, when you get a new car, you generally take it for a blast just to see what you can get out of it. I haven't done that, partly because the wife would probably kill me if I took our brand new car out and revved the hell out of it as well. So, generally, don't do that, okay? Don't try that at home. As Christian Strada goes into turn 5, Witt hugs that inside line there as well. He went on the defensive here. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. I will say at the moment, because obviously we've got the stage break very, very shortly here, as these guys are, the leaders are on lap 14. So the stage break should be within the next lap or so here as well. And Strada's got the gap now. He did have it down to about 4 tenths. It's now out to about 7. So Christian Strada's got to try and go again here, Kenton, to close that gap back up. Otherwise, he's going to be in trouble of completely losing Alex Witt altogether here.
Yeah, he's going to be a little more reliant on hoping that safety car, I guess not safety car, but the caution flag comes out a little early. Fairly shortly, though he's sticking pretty well. That kind of corner section between the carousel and the kink can get a little interesting if you don't take the right line through the carousel. You're coming out of it a little slower because you have to add a little more braking than you would want to. But he's closed it up quite quickly, and he's right there, right again. So definitely, it looks like these two are just in the league of their own today, and just kind of, like I said, cruising through.
Yeah, I do wonder if, obviously, with that stage break, I'm hoping we don't see anything of what we saw at the start of the race. I'm sure Jordan Malcolm is absolutely kicking himself about that. I'm not going to lie here as well, partly due to the fact that obviously it was a catastrophic error for Jordan, Pegg, Kern, Sharp, Radel, TJ, and I believe Dominic Bettini was also involved in it. So it was catastrophic for them guys, as we do have the stage break, I believe, due to the fact that obviously in road racing you won't get a yellow flag. So there we go. You got to rev that Vauxhall to clean up the exhaust, man. You don't know my wife, mate. You do not know the wife. So yeah, not an ideal thing for me to be doing with the wife in the car. Let's just put it that way.
I'm just gonna wait for her to not be in the car with you.
Yeah, but then generally I've got the kids. You know what I mean? And I don't obviously, because obviously I work from home, so I don't drive the car. You know what I mean? Very often, unless we're heading out. And if we're heading out, I've got the kids with me, or I've got the wife with me. So yeah, my opportunity for doing that is minimal. So yeah, I'll I don't know. Maybe I'll save it for a day or so, or drop her off at work after she's dropped the kids off at school and go see you later. But we'll see. Anthony Radels, yeah, he's there, basically.
He's around.
He's around.
He's doing his thing.
Yeah, he's doing the Radel Shuffle this evening on Road America as well, and definitely visiting every single part of the circuit. Am I the only one that perceives that these guys are still racing here? Because, you know, I've got a yellow flag up, and it's looking like everybody's still racing continuously.
I think they have to catch the safety car in here. It being a little different than oval, where the safety car just like comes drifting around those corners, as we've seen a few times. They'll catch the safety car and slow down. Although I'd be shocked if they weren't going to go into the pits coming out. Huh, guess not.
No.
Interesting.
Very
yeah,
much
it seems
so.
like they're just trucking it, because it looks like, yeah, this stage yellow has been thrown. So
there's the safety car now. There he is.
There it is.
Okay.
They're just waiting for them to catch up.
Well, I thought they were trucking it along there as well, so I kind of thought that they, yeah, we're just going for it full bore here. But the safety car is out. All the field will gather back together once more here as well. But at the moment, Alex Witt and Christian Schrader just look like they're in a different time zone compared to everybody else, don't they, at the moment?
Yeah, they are very far ahead of everybody else, and have created quite a gap. Obviously, the safety car will bunch everybody back up again, but they've definitely started this race and kind of taken full control of it themselves.
Yep. They definitely have. So yeah, we're waiting for the rest of the field to catch up. Mind you, we do have 10th and 11th, Calvin Ross and Devon Collicott, all the way round the other side of the circuit. They are literally about 4 corners in front of the safety car, so they've got a long way to go here. I do love that Spitz. The wife doesn't need to know. Well, to be honest, she's probably lying in bed and hearing what I'm saying, to be honest, because she's got ears like a cat. She can hear everything at any point at a time. Even if you whisper something, she still hears it. So, yeah. Get your lap back, TJ. Well, we're going to find out how these all unfold here. As well as these guys are catching up to the safety car. But they're so spread out here, Ken, currently at the moment, aren't they? It's going to take a while for some of these guys to catch up to that safety car.
Yeah, it'll be a couple minutes before they catch back up, at least. And then however long it takes for them to get back around for the rest of the lap. So we'll see. There's a good chance that the front group ends up getting most of their tires, their pit stop done before half the field's even caught back up.
Yeah. Shall we see if we can have a chat with Jordan Malcolm quickly?
I think so.
Okay, let's pull.
I'm curious.
Let's pull in Mr. Jordan Malcolm into the booth here as well. Jordan, good evening. How are you?
Feeling better.
Yeah. Would you like to talk about the start there, bud? Did you just put the throttle on and the back end spun up?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. You know, I barely cracked 50% throttle and the car's already sideways, so just a compound of cold tyres and a short parade lap, so I think that was inevitable. If it wasn't me, it was someone else, so.
Okay, there, but and the plan for the rest of the race, just try and get as many positions gained now as you can, yeah?
Yep, that's it. We'll
it.
try and put this 19 MX Racing Toyota Camry towards the front somewhere, see how we end up.
Okay, mate. Well, I'll let you go and let you get back to joining on to the back of the pace car there as well, but have a good one, mate.
Thank you.
He didn't seem very like he wanted to talk to me. He didn't seem his normal bubbly self, so I didn't want to keep him in the booth too long. He had a different persona about him, I think. I don't think Jordan Malcolm's overly happy currently at the moment.
No, after his little incident, as he almost gets himself into another one, but it looks like he is going to try and take a little bit of an advantage here.
Well,
I don't know when
he pitted on lap 11.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, it might work out for him. To be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think? Lap 11, 9 laps, lap 20, cruising as well. We can save fuel exceptionally well. Like, he pulled off that championship victory like no other man can do. So, I'm wondering if he's been able to do something along them lines as well. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously we know he can save fuel. He's incredible at saving fuel. So I think at the end of the day, if Malcolm has pulled off another masterstroke, I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the top 5 before the end of this race, you know.
The only thing that could hinder him is, I mean, he went in about, what, two laps later? Because most were in 9 or 10, so he went in either 1 or 2 laps later than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
The downside's going to be that he is going to have to pit under not a stage break, which will
so is everyone else.
Lose him some time. But they'll pit later, and he might have to pit for sure a third time, whereas everyone else might be able to push it. It's going to be interesting because I would have taken it under the stage break. You save. It's just it's a faster pit stop in the sense that you're not losing as much time. So it'll be curious.
Well,
see how it all plays out.
Do you want to pull the man who passed the masterstroke in last season's finals? Do you want to tell him that then?
No, I'm good. That's why I'm up here, so I can.
Are you sure? Because I'll
pull
it back up for you if you want to have a chat with him and tell him how you feel, if you're feeling brave.
I'm good. I'm good. Yep.
Okay.
Somehow he'll pull it off. Somehow he'll pull a 1 pit stop and end up making it another 16 laps on enough fuel that's only supposed to go 9. So he'll do it somehow.
I didn't think you would. You chicken. Yeah. I bet. Kenton Sportak there, clocking in the booth here as well. Jordan Malcolm, Alex Witt and Derek Runge with Noel Jackowitz behind. They will be the eventual 1, 2, 3s, I believe, here as well. So Jordan Malcolm will be out in front. He pitted on lap 11. That should theoretically put him on lap 20. He will be able to save some fuel behind the pace car, of course, so he might be able to go 21, 22. Therefore, leaving him 10 laps to do the final stint on, which, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he does it. I've got to be honest, Kenton. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's fair. If he's able to push this 9 laps, you get lap 20. If his safety car is going to do, another 2 laps? Well, probably about a lap. The end of this lap, it should probably come in, unless we're going to wait for the last couple to get in. Yeah, he might have, about 10 laps, depending on when the pit car comes in or the safety car comes in. He might be able to do it on just 1 and
2. He's going to. I think he'll at least have to do 2.
2?
Yeah, 2. I don't think he's going to get away on 1. He pitted on lap 11. 9 laps generally would take him to lap 20. That would leave him 12. But obviously with a safety car here as well, he's going to gain a lap, maybe a little bit more, depending on how much he's fuel saved in the process. So I got a funny feeling he'll be okay.
Yeah, I could see him doing 1 more. 1 more pit stop, and that would be it. Although, where's the? Yeah, it looks like it's Is it going around for another? It is going to go around for another lap. That's going to help Jordan Malcolm out pretty good there. Almquist is not getting quite the same amount of help.
It's not going to help Andrew Almquist here, unfortunately. If he's got to catch up with that pace car, it could be a while, unfortunately, here as well. So let's go back up front. We'll leave Andrew Almquist to get underway once more. He's about as had an interesting one as Anthony Radel, unfortunately. It looks like, unfortunately for Almquist, he may have taken another diver off the side of the circuit here as well. And in 12th place is TJ. He's trying to get his lap back with Seth Pegg and Anthony Radel as well. So we know Radel's had a few issues, and it looks like TJ may have just had one trying to get his lap back currently here as well. So this road circuit is definitely causing a few issues. The pace car will be in this lap as well. Okay. So now who are we going to perceive as going to be the winner now? Considering that we've stopped, we've got the pace car, we've got fuel strategies coming along. Who do we think is going to take this one?
It's hard to say. I mean, we've talked about how good Jordan Malcolm is when it comes to road races. Alex Witt's shown nothing but speed on this track so far, and Strader, even though he's now in, it looks like about fifth. Fifth there. He showed great pace as well and was sticking with Alex Witt pretty much the entirety of that way. So it's going to be a really interesting one now, because with that sort of change to fuel strategy for Jordan Malcolm's more or less forced by the earlier incident and having to pit early, because I think he's on his second pit stop, but he's done them much earlier, because I think he was on lap 2. He had to pit the first time, so having to get around and then only to pit lap 11 for his second pit stop, whereas everyone else is on lap 16. It'll at least make for an interesting finish, but I think it's hard to really rule one for sure being it, but I wouldn't put it past Jordan Malcolm to be able to pull it off if anyone could.
If anyone can, Jordan Malcolm can. So there we go. I love Spitz there at YouTube chat. Almquist paid for the entire track, so he's using it all.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I think between him and Anthony Radel, unfortunately, this evening, they've used literally every scene and every corner, every grass of every part of this circuit. So maybe at the end of the day, they want to get their $14 worth, I guess, if they have had to buy Road America. As well as TJ is slowly catching up to the back of the pack. He's coming up through turn 7 at the moment. As long as he doesn't have any major issues, he might just catch the back of the pack before they go green here. And with 15 to go, well, it's going to be interesting. We are, of course, on lap 17, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. 15 to 32?
Yep,
lap 17.
Should be 17.
Should be. And as Jordan Malcolm says, short, of course we can. Short pace lap. What do we reckon? As a reason? It's not going to help, right?
No, it's that like on the starts there, it doesn't do anything. It always makes it harder just to be able to get your tires warmed up, because even like swerving like you'd see in Formula 1 to get some heat in the tires, in these cars it doesn't do anything.
We are underway.
Malcolm gets a fantastic start. Wow, I didn't expect him to take off like he did, and he kept the car pointed in the right direction. Yeah,
it was almost like deja vu at the start, but this time Jordan Malcolm did get off the line here. Runge is trying to make the move up the inside of Jakowitz. Is he going to get that car stopped in time? Obviously another man that's had some issues with turn 1 here as well. Alex Witt moves over to the left hand side. That's going to allow Jakowitz to have a go on the outside of 3. Nothing doing with them two, but Jordan Malcolm absolutely flying. 1.2 seconds down the road already here, and Alex Witt and Noel Jakowitz fighting out down the marine sweep. Runge is involved in this one as well. Down they go, dropping down the hill. They're going to start braking just as the hill drops down, and then they've got to get that car settled in. Witz is looking a little bit squirrely. Jakowitz is looking a little bit more planted this time here as well, and they're still fighting out for second, third and fourth. A better start than we had at the beginning.
Much better, yeah. There's a lot less carnage this time. And the more that this little battle for second place keeps going and Witt's got to worry about playing a little bit more defensive, the better off it's going to be for Jordan Malcolm, as he's going to be able to kind of just drive away and not have to worry about it. And Alex Witt obviously is going to be trying to hope to create a little bit of space as well, so he can sort of focus on Jordan Malcolm ahead of him. But obviously with Noel and Runge right behind, they're going to be pushing and if they're going to be hoping to force Witt into a little bit more defensiveness, that they can try and take advantage of that.
No, I'm just going to see if Jordan Malcolm is lifting anywhere. Is he lifting down into turn 5? Into Canada corner, sorry, turn 12.
Yeah, he is. He's braking before even the four.
Five board.
Yeah,
wasn't it? It was he's braking very early.
He's hoping to make this fuel stint kind of last as long as he can, because I mean, to be honest, the further he can make this fuel stint last, the better off he is.
Yeah, we reckon lap 20, which is in about 2 laps time, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's gonna just go hell to leather now and see how far he can go. Let's listen again going into turn 1.
Oh yeah, he is lifting and braking early.
Yeah, but he's not clutching in, is he? Like he did, like we saw in last season's final.
It's harder to do with road racing, to clutch in like that, just because it hurts the car a little bit more in terms of like how you corner and things like that. It can unsettle the car a little bit too much with road racing. So you're not as likely to see people clutching in this kind of instance. But yeah, definitely. I mean, he's pushing without pushing. Like he just set a purple sector 1. Obviously, that's handy. That's always good. And he's won.
Calvin Ross. Oh, blimey. Talk about sticking a stamp on it and sending it there. He definitely did that over poor Hunter Carlson, who just saw this Killer Brownie rocket machine behind him going straight past him with a big old number 20 on the side. So Hunter Carlson does lose a place to Calvin Ross there, and Ross absolutely sent it on Carlson. And he got through there as well. Malcolm out in front by 1.45 seconds at the moment. Rodney Roberts is slowly losing pace with Christian Schrader, and Cody Kern is losing pace to Rodney Roberts in front. Jackowitz is being closed down by Runge again, as they're coming under a second now. Can this be holding on here? Well, time will tell as we go nearly into 10 to go. Not 10 to go, into lap 20, which is when we're expecting Jordan Malcolm in, we think, as well. Peggy won't be stopped, says Legendary Gamer. Well, the grass has stopped him a couple of times, and I think also a barrier, and also Jordan Malcolm's car. So he can be stopped. So I'm not going to lie, he can be stopped. I'm sorry, Legendary, I got to argue a little bit. He can be stopped, and those things have stopped him this afternoon, or this evening. So, there we go. For Seth Peck, there as well. I'm sure he's not going to love me for saying that, but there we go. What can we do?
Speaking of not going to love us, Anthony Radel is back in the pits.
Oh, Anthony. I'm not going to show him. He's clearly having a turmoil time on this circuit, and I don't feel it's right to keep showing Anthony Radel having an incident or Andrew Onquist. So if they go off again, I'm just going to leave them, because I'm sure they're having a rough enough time as it is without me impounding their pain anymore, or rubbing salt on the wound, as my mum always used to say to me as well, when generally I'm messing around and winding up my sisters. So there we go. So we'll just keep off them guys for a minute, and Radel and Almquist are obviously having a torrid time. Not going to lie. Calvin Ross is chasing down Hunter Carlson again.
The
other way round. Yep. Sorry. Hunter Carlson's chasing down Calvin Ross.
Yes. I was going to say, last thing I'll touch on with Almquist and Radel, they're still going, though. I got to give them that. They're still going.
Yeah, I'm not sure my determination would have been going by now. I
would have been like, bye.
Yeah, I think mine would have had a passport and had gone on holiday. to be honest. But fair play to them. Every point counts, right? And at the end of the day, that's all they've got to do is get points on the board here. So every point counts, and that's all that matters for Anthony Radel and Andrew Almquist here as well. So fair play to them for going, because at the end of the day, you know, they do get points, and they get points all the way down into position 36. So where is Radel at the moment? He is in 16th. He will score 21 points. Almquist is in 15th, and he will score 22. So it's still quite a good points haul, considering at the end of the day, you know, they've had a torrid time, and the leader only gets 40. The winner gets 40. So then they're only losing 19 points if they carry on. You know, but fortunate enough for them, they're a lap down, so they haven't got to do quite as many laps as the leader anyway. But yeah, they still gain points out of this.
Although it looks like Calvin Ross's hood is not quite fastened down as tightly as he would want.
Yeah, I think Calvin Ross has maybe caught himself up in a little bit, few too many incidents as well. Derek Runge there. Devon Collicott sitting in 6th place at the moment. He is basically 1.12 seconds ahead of Cody Kern and 7 seconds up to Strada. Now, are we seeing the same thing with Strada we saw at the beginning of the race here? Because he's well, how far back is he at the moment? He's behind Runge. There's Runge in front of us as well. And he doesn't seem as fast as if he's following somebody. So I don't know if that's because he's not hitting his points from where he was last time, or what the situation was on that one. But it doesn't look like he's moving in the same direction.
Yeah, and I mean, he might be trying to do sort of the similar idea as to what Jordan Malcolm's doing, is not overly pushing the car, just trying to, you know, get through the laps and things like that, and trying to make that fuel stint go as long as he can. There's a little bit lock up by Calvin Ross there, as he's got Carlson right on his back bumper, as they are dueling it out for P9. But yeah, I think that's kind of what he's looking to do, is that sort of not necessarily heavy save fuel, but you don't need to push the car, make that middle stint go a little bit longer. If you have to take a little less fuel than everybody else near the end, then you're not having to worry about as much weight, and you can kind of make up some space and make up some time that way very quickly. So as we see Hunter Carlson go onto the grass, not very fun here. It'll send your car multiple directions very quickly.
Yeah, it definitely will. And we've got a field of 20 cars. I'm kind of a bit relieved that we've only got 20 cars, to be honest, because we've had 30 plus on ovals. And if there was 30 cars and Jordan Malcolm spun up with 30 cars, we would have had a bigger wreck than we had already at the beginning. So, you know, I'm pretty glad we've only got 20.
As it looks like, actually, Jordan Malcolm just kind of head into the pits there. So what, he made it 22 laps.
And he's got 11 to go.
10 now.
10 to go. So,
well, 10 to go. So he might be able to do it on one stop now.
Yeah, it looks like Spainhour, unfortunately, has had a bit of a ta-ta-ta with turn 12, as that's where we're currently heading. Again, it looked like completely a solo incident. He's just gone round, and unfortunately for TJ, he's another man not enjoying this evening. Don't worry, TJ, I feel your pain here as well. So, unfortunately for Mr. Spainhour there, he has gone round. Anthony Radel, unfortunately, has had to jump back to the pits. Not entirely sure what happened. As I said, I'm not going to compound their pain anymore either. So I will just notify you when they go off. And Anthony Radel has unfortunately gone off and is in the pits. Can't keep showing him, Kenton. Can't keep him pounding their pain, do I? It would be a unfortunate evening if we just sat here and showed Radel's and Almquist's unfortunate incidents.
Yeah, we would have a few, but Chikuba also she is on her way back out of the pit lane now, but she's also stopped. So a little bit of I believe that's her third, so a little earlier than I would have expected, but she is back out, and she should be looking to hopefully try and get to as close to the end as she can on that this fuel load.
Oh, Derek Runge there. That was a big one. You will not get a yellow flag. You will get local yellows, but that was Runge there coming through the carousel. Onto the curb, around he goes. And boom, into the wall for Runge there on the exit of turn 10. And unfortunately for him, not an ideal scenario for Derek Runge. Hunter Carlson's been off track currently at the moment, and Seth Pegg has also been off track as well. And Runge goes off again.
Yeah, I don't think he's got a fast repair, or he looks like he's got a lot of heavy damage, especially to that front left. So he's kind of battling that car now, trying to get it back to the pits so he can get some form of repairs done. And I don't think that front left tire is working the way he wants it to, so he's probably gonna get out of there and get into the pit lane, and a little earlier, I'm assuming, than he wanted to have to pit, but get some repairs in and get out, and hopefully he hasn't used his fast repair yet, and he can get going right away.
Yeah, definitely on that one. Let's see how this pans out with Cody Kearns and Roberts. Malcolm's just gone past Derek Runge as well, so Malcolm's currently sitting in 8th place. We are perceiving he's got to go about 10 laps, right? That's what we've said, and that's what we're going to perceive he's got to do here.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's going to have to be pretty close. He might run out of fuel kind of crossing the finish line sort of idea, but we'll see what he's able to kind of put this car through. And I mean, we know he's more or less our resident king of the fuel save, so if anyone will pull that off, it would be him.
Definitely will be as well. Brandon, rough spin, it definitely was. Keep your head up, TJ, get the points, big picture. Yep, that's it for TJ at the moment, and he's currently sitting in 10th place, so he will score 27 points at the moment for Spain Out. So if I was Spain Out, I'd be looking to try and do the same thing as well, because there are drivers here who have not taken to this circuit at all, and others that are not taking to the circuit, but partly because of the fact that they've seen every part of it. So from Spain Out's point of view, keep it on track, get points, job's a good one, right? Yep, go back. Right, there we go.
Yeah, it's this track can get interesting. When, you know, if you touching grass, as we just saw Runge do there, he made just that little bit of contact with grass while he was trying to accelerate and into a wall. Although It looks like Roberts is going to have a lot of curtains getting real tight on him here, and this could definitely get a little spooky. Although Malcolm seems to be making up time as well. He's closed the gap to this group here. You can kind of see him just in the background there as he's trying to chase down Calvin Ross as well.
Yeah, I don't know if he is fuel saving, you know, partly due to the fact on the speed that he's carrying at the moment.
Yeah, or he's just, I don't think he's fuel saving as much as we think he would be. But he also doesn't seem to be like exerting. He's using a lot of slipstreams, as I say that as he immediately goes outside of Calvin Ross and more or less makes a fantastic pass. Although Ross's front end of his car, as you can see, looks like it's seen a couple of better days.
Yeah, he definitely has. I'm not going to lie. You can see it there. Calvin Ross's car is just, unfortunately, got some nasty little creases in. So, yeah. But for Jordan Malcolm, he's currently flying at the moment, trying to catch up to the guys in front of him, which is Cody Kern and Roberts, who are there on track. And there is Jordan Malcolm, the purple machine, coming over the hill as well here to try and make up as many places. Cody Kern. That was the thing. He slipped and then went to put the accelerator on again, and his back end nearly went round again there. Yeah,
and it with these cars, it's like, obviously F1 car, you would never touch first gear. You know, your GT3 cars, you'll go to first gear very seldomly, but you can still do it. These cars' first gear is kind of sketchy unless you're pointed dead straight and you have grip, because otherwise it's just going to burn up the tires, because you have so much torque behind these cars, but there's not, and they have so much weight that they can really kind of have an awkward dig in and just, again, send your car around, as we saw with Jordan Malcolm to start the race. If your tires aren't warm and the grip's not there, your car is not going to be happy.
No, definitely isn't. He's going to try and run around the outside here of Roberts into turn 12. Is he going to take the dive on the inside line? He's clearly showing his nose. He's showing his intentions. Roberts has got to leave his room. He does leave room. There was contact. Roberts has gone round into Cody Kern, into Calvin Ross. Ross has also gone round now and spinning frantically. But from Roberts' point of view, did he close in?
I don't think so. It looks like Jordan Malcolm kind of... It's hard to say if that's more than a racing incident, but if it's not, I think that's a little bit more on Jordan Malcolm. He was not alongside him going into the corner. Roberts technically has ownership to that corner, and Jordan Malcolm just kind of stuck it in there and unfortunately wasn't able to keep the corner smooth as he should have. So if it's going to be an incident, I think that one's slightly on Jordan Malcolm, more so than Rodney Roberts.
Yeah, well, that will be open for discussion, I'm sure, from the stewards a little bit later on to see if anything comes about on that one. But Jordan Malcolm here now in third place with everybody behind him or in front of him going into the pits, including Roberts, Carlson, Ross, TJ, Dominic Bettini, Cody Kern is another man that's in here as well as we go into the last 7 laps with these cars driving here as well. Alex Witt, fastest man on track. 2:09.9 altogether, 2:11.03 last time around as well. So we're still flying currently at the moment here for Alex Witt. He's doing an absolutely stellar job and, well, flying, absolutely flying. Spainhour is in 9th now, so Spainhour did manage to jump Calvin Ross. Calvin Ross has been in the pits for over a minute and a half currently. Maybe he's getting some repairs done after that incident there that he's just been a part of that was completely not his fault, Kenton.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to blame him on that one. He left him some space, not a lot. He didn't need to. Like I said, I'm pretty sure he owned that corner. It was definitely his corner, but rather unfortunate for him there, as it did force him to kind of take a pit stop. Thankfully, where it was, he was able to go in and get a quick pit stop and not have to make a full lap or anything like that.
Yeah, I think Malcolm, by the way, that we talked to him earlier on, was a little bit upset, shall we say. So it was probably best to leave him as he was B currently at the moment, because he didn't sound entirely happy when we spoke to him last, of course. So, yeah, not a happy chappy was Jordan Malcolm after that start. I was going to put a word in front of it, but I'm not entirely sure what the word would have been, to be honest, apart from chaotic.
Hazard?
Was he a hazard though? Well, obviously he was.
Not a hazard, a haphazard start. It went sideways very quickly. Not so much that he was a hazard, it was just it all went belly up very fast.
Yeah, it definitely did, unfortunately for Jordan Malcolm. The cars are very spread out currently at the moment, so we are focusing on Jordan Malcolm, obviously the defending champion, coming through the field. He is now right up behind Seth Pegg. That is Seth in front. And of course, Seth has had his own torrid time here this evening as well as Malcolm goes through. Almquist, unfortunately, has taken another trip off the circuit, but is currently back up and running. 26 to go here, lap 24. Jordan Malcolm pitting on lap currently 22. So he's got to take this car 10 laps. I think he might struggle with that. Not going to lie. Especially driving at the speed he is doing.
Yeah, and I think a large reason of why he's driving the pace he is he's hoping, although Alex Witt's come in now, so I think his hope was that he was going to be able to catch Witt, and it's going to be tight, because also, yeah, Noel comes in as well, so we're going to see if Malcolm's speed is able to get him up there. He's also going to have the least amount of fuel, so he'll have a little bit of a lighter car. We'll see, because it's a long pit straight, or it's a long pit lane here.
Yeah.
So working your way to your pits, like, he's got a long way to go. Thankfully, he'll have a short exit, but he has to get all the way to the end. And that pit lane is pretty much the entirety of the front straight, and the front straight's about 1.2 kilometers. So there's a chance Malcolm might actually come out ahead of him, and it looks like he's gonna come out just behind him. Obviously now Witt has cold tires. Actually, probably didn't take tires, so fuel. So his tires will still have cooled down a little bit, just being in pit lane and stationary. So Malcolm is able to jump Noel Jackowitz there and get himself up into P2.
Yeah, but it's whether or not Malcolm can take this car to the end. I think that's going to be the question here as well. Can he take it to the end? So there we go. Jordan Malcolm now with the fastest lap of the race, 209.84 currently at the moment as well. So he's doing a stellar job along with Alex Witt there. You can just see it. They are 7,000ths of a second apart. But Witt is out in front with Malcolm closing in now as well. Christian Strider is just about to try and go around the outside of turn 5 of Jackowitz. He's going to try to cut back up the hill into 6. He didn't quite get the power on early enough and couldn't quite keep going there, unfortunately for Christian Strider. I think it's a weird one with Strider, you know, because since he's dropped Witt, or since Witt's dropped him, Strider doesn't seem to be showing the same pace he did have. You know, I don't know. It's quite bizarre, really.
Yeah, it's kind of been a very, I don't want to say weird, I guess, yeah, been a weird day for him because he had such a massive lead after seemingly everybody had to crash, and then he was kind of just on his own, and then Witt reeled him in very quickly, but then he held on to Witt, and then the stage break happened, and he's been nowhere near Witt since.
No.
And kind of struggled to sort of keep pace with that front group. So not really sure what's, it might be just his setup isn't made for the short part of it and the last few laps. If he's got someone in front of him, he can really push. But yeah, it's seemingly a little weird on how his race has gone so far today.
Yeah, it definitely is, but I'm sure he's not the only one in this race who's probably had a bit of a bizarre one as well, as TJ has had, unfortunately, had another incident as well. But he is up 6 on the day. Chikuba, she is currently up 10 places for this evening's race here as we're going into the final 4. Malcolm and Witt's on a 1.5 second gap currently at the moment as well, and he has looked like he's been closing in bit by bit here. Last time out, obviously, I can't really take the last laps because Alex Witt went into the pit, so he did like a 2:35, while Jordan Malcolm did a 2:10.55. So it'll be this one we'll keep an eye on here and seeing how they compare to lap times. Strider's dropped back a little bit from Jackowitz at the moment, 0.9 of a gap there, as they have just gone past Seth Pegg as well. So everybody's lapped up to 11th place at the moment, and 10th and 9th might be okay, to be fair, because they're quite far in front of the leaders who are coming up into turn 8, Kenton.
Yeah, fun little turn there. That's that sort of uphill into almost a blind corner or blind apex. It's a very tricky corner. It's a lot of fun when you do it right, but if you mess it up, it's not so fun.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting little corner. This whole track actually is it's really fun to drive. Maybe not in NASCAR, but it is fun to drive in some of the other styles of car, like F3, LMP2s, things like that. Quite fun.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. The circuit itself isn't a bad circuit. I'm just wondering if it's the car that we've got on it that could be causing it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest.
They're too loose.
Yeah. Still not a lover.
Like that, and that's that's the nice thing with Watkins Glen. Is it's not so aggressive corners. Like these are, you look at, I mean, turn 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 12, and 14 are all like hard 90-degree corners. Watkins Glen doesn't really have any corners that you're doing that kind of hard, heavy braking. It's there, they do have some, but it's kind of an interesting. Like the bus stop chicane is obviously it's a bus stop chicane, but you're still not really heavy braking to the point where you're dropping down into first gear because it has such wide curbs to them that you have to take advantage of them and you kind of want to maintain as top speed as you can. Whereas these ones, you really do have to like slam on the brakes and really hold them down to make sure you can make that corner properly without hitting grass or hitting too much curb and spinning out. So it gets a little interesting.
Yeah, it definitely does. The gap up front's 1.5 seconds at the moment. Strada to Jakowitz is 0.9, nearly out to a second. So is Malcolm going to be looking at coming in here as we've got 3 to go? Did say he's got to save some fuel, and as we know with Jordan Malcolm, he can do that quite successfully here as well. And yep. Okay. Yeah, right. Alex Witt and Jordan Malcolm coming to... Oh, dear.
I'm starting to just feel bad for Almquist.
I'm starting to feel bad for anyone here. I've got to be on... Oh.
I saw it pop up, and I was like, and we're going to see that?
Yeah, no. Derek Runge has plummeted himself somewhere to the point where he's had to return to the pit lane straight away. And unfortunately for Runge, ouch. He just kind of stops the car, I think. Just parks up. That was Rob Lee Roberts, actually. It's this one I want to have a look at. No, Runge has just gone. I think Runge has just decided enough is enough. And he can't go on, he can't go on, he can't go on. So Derek Runge there looking like he is another retiree of this evening's race. We've lost Radel, McLaughlin, Sharp and Sawyer Gara, and Norberg did not take to the start here either. Not entirely sure what happened to McLaughlin. I didn't see anything pop up that he's had a bad incident. I'm just scrolling back through now, unless that was right near the beginning.
Well, it says he retired at lap 10, so...
Right, okay, let me just whiz up to lap 10 and see if... Yes, he did. This is what it was. No, it's not, because it's not going to go back that far, unfortunately for me. So we're not going to be able to see what Brian McLaughlin did, but whatever he did, it was a bad one. Jordan Malcolm dropped back to 2.8 now. I think we're in fuel-saving mode for Jordan Malcolm currently, Kenton, at the moment, because he is losing time now quite rapidly.
Yeah, and his last lap was they're lapping actually pretty close together. Like their last laps were 2:10.45 and a 2:10.47. So they're lapping very close together. So I'm not. He is letting off, but I think it's just kind of started where he started letting off. So Alex Witt just his fuel, I guess, strategy just worked out a little bit better having those extra couple laps. So I think Malcolm's just gonna kind of try and milk what he can. He's got about 15 seconds behind him to third place, so he's in very strongly in second right now and doesn't really have to force it too hard.
Yeah, definitely that as well. Whoa!
Like that.
Jordan Malcolm didn't nearly, as we were on the final lap there. I know Spitz, I know he's put, man, poor Armquist. There's like a whole compilation worth of crashes there as well. And unfortunately, it looks like TJ's also gone and ventured off here. Is he going to be able to stay in front of the leaders? Is he going to be able to not get lapped? Or will TJ join the part of the lappers? He did just spin. He went round before then. Unfortunately for TJ, caught the curb on the inside, unsettled the car. And then I think he floors it and goes round, unfortunately for him as well. Final lap of the race for Alex Witt. And there's been an incident at the top of the hill with Chi Kuba as well. Unfortunately, Kuba's been off track. She's now back up and running, but it looks like Malcolm is well in fuel-saving mode now as he's 3.2 seconds back currently at the moment here as well. But it's the final lap of the race for Alex Witt. He is coming up into turn 8 for the final time, and I think he's should be able to take this victory. A lot of casualties on this track. Is this common for this circuit? It isn't, but depending on the car that we're going to put on it. That's what we were discussing, I think. NASCARs are not built for road circuit sound. You know, they go left and left and left again. They don't turn right. So when you're sticking what we've got here with so much power in it, it does cause problems. So, yeah, and Spitz there. Poor grass as well today. It was well abused. So, there we go.
A nice lawn mowing simulator today.
Yeah, but it is the car, isn't it? I think if these guys were in GT4 or an LMP2 or anything like that, I don't think we would have seen quite as many incidents as we have done. But for the final time, it is going to be Alex Witt. TJ's going to survive. He's not going to get lapped currently at the moment. However, personally, I would have slowed down and let him go past. But it is going to be Alex Witt who's going to take the victory here. He does do. He takes the checkered flag with Jordan Malcolm going off. And then Noel Jakowicz will take third place. But definitely one of new. It was survival, I think, would be the word I'm looking for. It was a day of survival for most of these people.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of those ones where I think it was even on the Discord they had a discussion and someone said consistency is everything on this track. You're gonna pass people just because they go off. Mm-hmm. Like if you can keep on the road, you're gonna have a very good race. And I think that's kind of what we saw today. It was a lot of people missing the track or missing a corner, clipping a curb, things like that, and it just unfortunately caused a lot of chaos for pretty much everybody up and down the board. I don't think anyone went with 0 off tracks. Only a couple still only had one. And a couple people had more. We've talked about them. Yeah, almost everybody had more, but only a few hit double digits. Actually, Jordan Malcolm somehow still had 10 off tracks, which is surprising considering how he ended up finishing. But yeah, just one of those. It's a tough track, especially with these kind of cars.
Yeah, it definitely is. Rodney Roberts, Hunter Carlson, and then Chi Kuba will come along as well. So as she goes into turn 14, Chi there. I do love Chi's livery. It is very pretty.
Nice one.
Oh, TJ. Chi Kuba over the line. Cody Kern coming over the line as well. And I'm wondering, I don't know if that was all on his own, you know. And I say that, oh yes, it is looking likely it was on his own. Unfortunately, it looked like Calvin Ross was near him at this moment in time for TJ, who locks up.
Hit the grass.
So there we go, as we will see TJ across the line. The final car here as well. They aren't used to this many corners, says Brandon. This is also true. Lead lap on a road course with a top 10. Way to go, TJ. 8 faint pad. Yep, stellar job. Chi always making banger of her liveries. She definitely is. It was an incredible livery. But TJ has come over the line as well. So for these guys, it's been an evening I think some will want to forget. I'm pretty sure some will not even want to watch the broadcast unless they really want to see how many times they appeared. But apart from that, I wouldn't go down that road anymore. Right, Alex Witt is in first, Jordan Malcolm second, Noel Jakowicz third, Christian Schrader in fourth, Devon Collicott fifth, Rodney Roberts in sixth place there, Hunter Carson seventh, Chi Kuba eighth, Cody Kern ninth, TJ Spainhour 10th, Seth Pegg 11th, Dominic Bettini 12th, Calvin Ross 13th, Andrew Almquist 14th, Derek Runge 15th, Anthony Radel 16th, and then we've got, well, the land of the non-finishers, Derek Runge, Anthony Radel, Brandon McLaughlin, Cody Sharp, and I believe Matthew Norberg and Sawyer Gara, who didn't take to the start. So let's have a chat with a few of these drivers here as well. And let's see who we've got waiting in the booth. And let's have a chat with the man who finished in fourth place, Mr. Christian Schrader. Good evening, Christian. How are you?
I am great, James. I was not expecting that to go as well as it did.
Yeah, I want to have a chat, young sir. Right. So you're out in front by about 4.5, 5 seconds. Okay.
Yes.
Alex Witt catches you at a rate of knots that you'd think he'd have nitrous oxide in the car, and then you manage to stay with him. But then after the stage break, you drop back. So was that just the fact that you didn't have the pace, or what was that scenario? Because we were talking about it up here in the booth. We couldn't understand how you stayed with him for the first half once he caught you up, but then you couldn't get back to him after the stage break.
I didn't have the pace, honestly. Going into it, when I had the lead, I said I was just going to take care of the car, don't make any mistakes. I was more than happy to finish in the top 5 today. I'm not much of a road racing guy. I did start doing a bunch of it because I had to try to get a good finish here. And then also, I remember your comments about NASCAR on road courses, and I was like, I got to go make James proud tonight.
Yeah, I don't love them. I still don't love them. I've got to be honest. Go left.
That's fair.
Go left.
I get you.
Yeah, exactly. And this track's claimed so many people here this evening as well. So, it was a tough one for everybody, I think, as well. But we're back on ovals next week. That's always a good thing to hear. Back into Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm much more confident going into Charlotte, but I'm happy with tonight. I'm very happy finishing 4th. Following Alex for those laps there, it taught me a ton. It was a little harder to try to do it once I didn't have the car to follow anymore. So I lost a little bit of pace that second run, but it was a good race for me, and I was definitely able to learn a lot.
Yeah, definitely on that one as well. Well, Christian, thank you so much for joining us. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
TJ. TJ was there for the moral support tonight. kept me focused, kept me going tonight. So definitely need to give a shout out to him, and then to you guys, because you guys do a great job with our broadcasts.
Yeah, TJ had a bit of an up and down one. Poor TJ.
Yeah. We'll get there. Road racing's definitely not our forte.
No, it's not mine either, to be honest, Christian. But you know what I mean. We get there. Don't put NASCARs on a road circuit, Armand. But anyway, right, I'll catch up with you. Yeah, back to ovals. Take care, bud, and I'll maybe have a chat with you next week.
Yeah, hope to talk to you next week, James. You guys have a good night.
And you, man. Take care. Right, let's have a chat with the man that finished in 3rd place, Noel Jackowitz. Noel, good evening. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. A little beat up after that one, but pretty good.
Yeah, tough track. Tough track for everyone, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, especially with big, heavy stock car. You're going to wheel the thing around, but it's fun.
You did manage to stay out of the chaos at the beginning, no?
Well, yeah, I cooked the brake in T1, kind of went off. There was a bit of chaos at the start. I think Jordy spun his tires a little bit, but good recovery by him. And then I sent it a little too hot in turn 1. I thought it was going pretty easy, but no, cooked the brake and went wide, and I had to kind of climb back, but it was fun.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one here to this evening as well for yourself. Going forward into Charlotte, what are we expecting from yourself at that one?
Yeah, back to ovals. I'm probably in the minority. I really enjoy the road courses, but even in the stock cars. But Charlotte is a pretty decent track. Won there before, way back when, but nothing recent. Still chasing a win though. But if we can consistently stay on the podium, that's perfectly all right too.
Awesome stuff. No, well, thanks so much for joining us there, bud. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
As always, thanks you guys. Did awesome job broadcasting. We got a double Breakfast Club podium, so always shout out there and good time.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us now, and we look forward to maybe having a chat with you next week.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Take care. And then the final interviewee for this evening is your winner, one Mr. Alex Witt. Lost the lead briefly during pit stops, but then came back and took the victory. Closed down about 5 seconds over Christian Strada to take the lead. Alex, welcome in. Good evening to you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. That was a pretty hectic race for me.
Oh, hold on, sir. You sound very, very quiet. It was pretty hectic. You was involved in an incident with Derek Runge at turn 1 and then managed to battle your way through to take the victory. That's not bad going, though, when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can really only be happy with that one. I definitely wasn't super happy with my pace. I knew Jordy was going to have the pace advantage, so I knew it was going to take some sort of miracle, and luckily it opened up there.
Yeah, the miracle kind of happened before anybody really got away, I think. I think unlucky for Jordan, as you said, cold tyres didn't help him at the beginning, the short pace lap as well. What's your opinion on the pace lap? Do you think we needed to be a little bit longer?
Yeah, I mean, that could definitely make it safer. I was a little worried about that too, especially starting in the last turn. So I was definitely trying to take it as cautiously as I could. And I'm lucky I did, because that probably would have been me had I not.
Yeah, I think that's what Jordan said. He said, to be honest, if it wasn't him, it was going to be somebody else as well. But going forward, back onto the ovals next week, back at Charlotte. How do you think you're going to do at Charlotte?
I do like Charlotte. It's one of my favorite tracks, so I think that'll be a pretty good one for me if I can stay out of the carnage.
No, that was going to be an interesting one. I think for a lot of people, it would be good to be back on ovals here as well. But Alex, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to the Breakfast Club. Thank you, Killer Brownie.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us there, bud. And we'll look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thank you.
Take care. Well, there you go. That was Alex Witt, Noel Jakowitz, and Christian Strada. They did an absolutely incredible job here this evening as well. And I think we may have... Oh, there's a couple more people waiting here as well. I think Jordan Malcolm is waiting in the waiting room. Good evening, Jordan. How are you?
I'm okay considering.
Okay, let's spin a positive on it, right? So, first positive is you managed to battle your way back up into second place. Okay? Let's forget about what happened at the beginning. It happened. Let's move on. You know, you battled your way back. That wasn't bad at all, right? Because up here in the booth, we didn't even know if you were going to get past it with the fuel that you had, considering most of the people seem to be going sort of 8 to 9 laps, and you took that final stint a lot longer than that.
Yeah, it was 10 laps, and yeah, just, disappointing with P2 actually. So, well, by far the quickest car out there would have easily jumped Alex, but that incident cost me 5 seconds, which ultimately cost me the win in the end. But I knew it was 10 laps on fuel, just people made it 9 for some reason. So I'm not sure if they're using more fuel than I was, but I could run full place with 10 laps, so I knew I had it pretty covered. I just needed to save during that stage break.
Yeah, well, look, we're back on ovals next week, back at Charlotte as well. How was it at Charlotte for you? How do you think you get on?
I don't know how I'll get on, and we'll just see how next week goes.
Okay, buddy. Well, thank you so much for joining us here as well. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to the team 19MX Raps Racing. People over there being absolutely epic, and then obviously you guys producing the broadcast.
Awesome stuff. Well, Jordan, thank you very much for joining me, and maybe we'll look forward to having a chat with you next week.
Thank you.
Take care. Right, and then the final interview of the evening is Devon Collicott. Devon, welcome in. How are you?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Oh, not bad, buddy. Not bad at all. 5th place for you. Tough race. Gained, well, you basically finished where you started. So that's not bad at all, is it?
No. After lap 1, I was in last place. I got involved in that start crash, but it went as good as I could have asked for.
I think that's the thing. It's how people recovered after the incident at the beginning. Obviously, Jordan Malcolm, you've seen got in the second place there. What was the feel after that crash? Did you sit back and think, oh, I'm done now, that's it? Or did you think, no, head down, carry on, get on with it and see how we go?
I thought initially it was game over, and it was, I don't know. No point in quitting. I just went out and turned the laps, and I think the only thing that helped me is I didn't spin under green any. I kept the car on track, and that put me in 5th at the end. So,
yeah, there was a lot of people spinning round as well. Back onto ovals next week, though, Devon, as well, as we go back into Charlotte. You know, you're currently not in a bad spot in the championship. What's the ambition for the championship?
just make the playoffs, see where we go from there. I had a rough start the first 2 races, but 7th at Nashville, 5th here, and I feel good about Charlotte, so we'll see where that takes me.
Awesome stuff, Devon. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
No, sir. Thank you.
No problem at all. Well, have a good one, and maybe we'll have a chat with you next week.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, there you go. Kenton as well. a very mixed emotion interviews, wasn't there? You know, Jordan Malcolm was very dejected. He felt he should have taken the win. He had the pace. He could have, you know, be the fastest car out there, and he just didn't sound quite Jordan Malcolm, did he? Mm. Awesome stuff. Well done. Well, awesome stuff, Chi, as well. So congratulations to you. Where was my interview? Went without one this week. Well, I didn't want to interrupt you, to be honest. You'd seen quite a lot of the circuit, Seth. So I was just making sure that we can catch you on an oval next week when we're a bit more used to talking to you here as well. So we were just trying to keep it to the minimum. But I'm sure you can come and have a chat with me next week, Seth, as well. But there you go, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got a lot more racing coming up on the JPB YouTube channel. Currently, at the moment, we have got the Triple Bypass Racing late models, round 5 from Bristol, running with Biggles and Ewan O'Leary. And then tomorrow night, it will be the LSRL F1 coming up with the JPB GT4s there as well. So also tomorrow, so stay tuned for that one, because there will be a lot more racing coming up on the JPB YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bells, and that will be absolutely incredible. But thank you to everyone, as always, coming in for the booth, into the chat. Spain Hour, Braden, Spit, Sound, thank you so much, of course, as well. Lydia earlier on, Drop Shot Prodigy, Brother, I believe, on that one. FWM TV, thank you so much for coming in here as well. And of course, Billy Cooper, much love to you. But from myself up here in the booth, and Mr. Kenton Sportak here, good evening, as it has been an absolutely epic evening. But from both of us, take care, have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.